Hey everyone, it's Kelly and I am going to do a reformer workout for myself today. Not super long, but really focusing on obliques. Now, generally people would think obliques means bending and twisting and side bending and all the things, and there is a little bit of that, but also I'm going to be doing a lot of single-sided work, single arm, single leg work to help recruit my obliques to stabilize my spine. I'm noticing a little bit of a rib flare on my left side in particular, and I assume that is from having and dealing with this frozen shoulder that I can't move. I can move this arm, but I can't raise this arm very high just yet. So I'm working on that, but I don't want that to get worse. So while I'm dealing and working on the frozen shoulder, I'm working on obliques as well. So that's what we'll do today. So let's begin with footwork. You'll want your foot bar in a mid to low position, depending on your length. And you'll want all springs or 3 to 4 springs on your reformer. I have all springs on, and that's what I'm going with today to warm up my legs. So have a seat, scoot way forward on your carriage, and then roll down with control. Placing your shoulders right in front of those shoulder pads and hands down by your sides. Use your core muscles to stabilize your back and your pelvis as you pick your feet up and land your heels on the bar. Feet are flexed, toes directly up to the ceiling. Inhale, press away, and exhale, return. And again, inhale, lengthen, exhale, bend in. 3, 4, 5, inhale, stretch, 1 more for 8, and returning the carriage home. Use your core muscles to pick up your feet and then land on your arches. Now, when I say to inhale and lengthen, I am expecting that you'll inhale into your low back so that you can keep your abdominal muscles engaged about 10 to 20% even on the inhale, and keep those front bottom ribs knit together. And return. Inhale and exhale. Cupping the bar with your feet. This is 6 of 8. Remember to resist the carriage as it comes home. 1 more. And return. Lift those feet up and then land on your toes, wrapping your toes around like a bird on a perch. Heels are not super high, heels are not super low. They're somewhere in the middle. Ankle bones glued together. Inhale, exhale. Inhale into your low back, exhale. One more time, we're going to stay out here on number 8 and slowly lower the heels down to stretch and up. So don't plop down and pop up, just control that movement in both directions. So when the heels go low, there's a potential for you to arch your back, again, flaring those front ribs. Try to keep that all pulled together. Press your abdominal muscles down towards your spine and breathe. 2 more. Last one, heels up and then heels down, stretch. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, keep your heels low and bend and come in. Use your core muscles, pick up your legs, open into Pilates V. Land on your toes, heels glued tightly together. Inhale, exhale. Making sure every time I bend my knees, they only stay as wide as my body. I'm not turned out super wide. I believe this one's 8, so I'm going to consider that and come in, use my core, pick up my legs, and land wide on the heels. Push and pull. Keep heavy weight in your heels, even on the way in, not just as you push out. To engage those legs. One more time. And in. Take a moment to drop your knees to the right, head to the left. And to the other side. Bring those knees back up. Keep your heels wide on the bar. Lower your headrest to a flat position. And we're going to do some pelvic lifting. Now, I apologize in advance if this microphone makes funny noises when I lift my hips, as it might be sliding around a little bit. So heels wide on the bar. Tuck the tail. Press the small of your back down before you actually lift your spine, and then sequentially roll the spine up, bone by bone by bone, and then roll the body down, bone by bone by bone, all the way to the tailbone. And again, tuck, peel, and lift to whatever height feels safest for you. My carriage is in a little too close to the bumper for my length, but for sake of time, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to move the carriage. So it's a little bit harder for me to come up high and keep my carriage into the bumper. This time we're going to keep our hips up when they get there. Keep those core muscles tight. Push out, pull in. I'm pressing into my arms onto the mat, obviously pressing into the heels to lengthen the legs. Inhale and exhale. Keep that pelvis lifted and stable. Squeeze pelvic floor muscles. One more time. All the way into the bumper, and then sequentially roll the body down. And hug those knees in, rock side to side. All right, so working on the arms next. Come all the way up so you can change your springs. I'm going to be on one blue spring because of my weaker shoulder. You could be on one red, or maybe if you have a yellow, you need a little lighter than that, and you could be on one yellow spring. I'm also going to raise my headrest back up because it's more comfortable for my neck. And then lying down on our backs. Always adjust. Make sure you feel even on the mat. Shoulders are against, but not snugged up too tightly against the shoulder pads. You're going to pick up the strap in your right hand. Now, I'm not putting my fingers through the loop. I'm holding on close to the metal. Here, if it's too heavy, I will slide my hand down the strap, but I'm squeezing it, making a fist around the strap. So, legs up in a chair position. I always get my hand to be on top of my shoulder, because the way I set up my ropes and my straps, my arm would start way back here with my carriage in. But I just use my feet to get my arm up and then lift those legs and press that arm down and up. Stay straight in your wrist. Because of the way the rope is, it's going to make you sort of want to kink your wrist and bend it, but don't. So now I'm working on my entire core, but my left oblique is really having to pull down to stay anchored. I'm pushing my back bottom ribs down into the mat. One more time. Keep the arm down when it gets there. Bend and straighten the elbow. Tricep presses. Again, notice my wrist kind of wants to kink a little bit, and I'm going to try to push through my knuckles a little bit and keep it straight. Push to straight, lift your arm up, rest your feet down on the bar while you put your hand in either the long or short loop. Legs back up in chair position. Press your arms straight down, circle it open, and then don't move your carriage when you lift it straight up. The carriage moves when your arm goes down. The carriage moves when your arm opens, but then it doesn't move as you lift up. One more all the way around. And then we reverse. Open, don't move your carriage. Pull from underneath your armpit to move that carriage. Make sure you're breathing. Press those back bottom ribs down to the mat. Last one. And arm comes up. Now rest your feet down for a moment. Make sure you're not stuck to your shoulder pads. We're going to put the hands, again, in either the long or short loops. I'm going the long loop because I don't love the long loop being floppy when I'm doing this next one, but it's totally up to you. Hands are stacked, one on top of the other. Legs up in chair position. You're going to open your knees, crunch up, press your arms in between the legs, and then close the knees as you bring your head down. So open the knees, crunch up, close the knees, lower down. Let's do two more. And down and rest. We're going to hang up that strap. Grab the other one into the left hand. This side will be a little bit more challenging for me. And I'm squeezing the strap with my hand close to the metal. If it gets too heavy, I'll just slip my hand towards the very end of the strap. And legs up in chair. Press that arm down. So now, yes, I'm working my entire core to hold up my legs, but to be able to use just the one arm, my body will try to compensate and shift a little bit. So I have to hook into my obliques on the sides of my waist to help me stabilize. Trying to keep my wrists straight, that's really hard for me with this weaker arm. And breathe. And when the arm comes up, we're going to lower it again and then bend and straighten the elbow, tricep presses. These ones are hard for me. One more. I'm going to reach my arm up, lower my feet down, slip my hand in the shorter loop. You could go long loop. I don't, for some reason, mind it being floppy on this one. And then legs back up. We're going to press the arm down, open it to the side. Mine won't go very high. And then lift straight up without moving your carriage. So you bring your arm out to the side as high as you safely can, and up. And the goal, which I'm not doing a great job of right now because of this silly arm, is to not move your carriage when you get from the side and you go straight up to the sky. So really slow the movement down and focus on that. Now with my arm out to the side, I'm really having to work hard to press into this right oblique muscle down into the mat. At the top of this one, which I think is maybe one extra one, but that's okay because this shoulder needs it, we're going to reverse. Open, pull to the hip, and lift up. So we're not just circling. Once we get to the top, we open the arm without moving the carriage, and then move it by pulling. I'm going to do one extra on this side too. And up, and rest the feet down. I'm putting both hands in the longer loop so it doesn't flop around on me. And then head roll-ups, legs in chair, open the knees, crunch up, close the knees, lower down. One more time. And rest. Good. Now we're going to keep this strap, but we're going to put our left foot in it. Now I will say, for sake of time, I'm not going to get up and switch the strap, or the spring, but you can switch to one red spring if you want. And if I find that this is way too light and miserable, I might get up and switch to one red. But from here, put your foot in either the long or short loop. The shorter will make it a bit heavier if you're staying on the one blue like I'm on. And then right leg in chair position. Lower this left leg down and up. Inhale and exhale. I'm keeping my chest and collarbones open and broad, but I'm knitting my front ribs together and I'm pressing my bottom ribs down so that my back bottom ribs are trying to touch the mat. We're going to do one more, and I could go to a red spring for this and up, but I'm not going to. We're going into circles. So as my leg goes out to the left, I anchor my right oblique down into the mat. I'm trying not to move my right leg around in opposition to compensate for the left leg. I'm trying to get that to come into my waist, the strength and the pressure to come from my waist. Over the top, we're going to reverse. So open, pull down, lift at the center. Make sure you're breathing. One more. And when the leg comes up, bend that knee into a chair position. We're going to extend the left leg, pull the right knee in, and then switch. Good. Now, Lift your left leg up. Take your right foot across and underneath the left one. So your foot is not through the strap, it's underneath the strap. Ankles crossed, legs straight, and inner thighs squeezing tightly. Lower your legs down and lift them up. Now, the tendency will be to veer the legs either in line with where the rope is loaded or even across and away from that on a diagonal. Try not to. Try to keep your feet in line with your pubic bone or tailbone, going down and up. Making sure that on the way down you breathe into your back so that your back bottom ribs stay attached to the mat and you don't arch. One more time. When those legs come up, you're going to bend into a frog. So detach your foot from across the other one. Heels glued together. Bend into froggy. Kick out. And back in. It's very hard to keep your heels glued together since they don't both have a strap attached to them. One more time. Good. And then bend in. Take your right foot to the floor inside the well. Straighten your left leg up and gently pull. Get a hamstring stretch for the left leg and a quadricep stretch, hip flexor stretch for the right side. If you don't feel your quad and hip flexor on the right, bend your knee and tuck your foot underneath you more and you will feel it. If you can't reach the floor because your machine is tall, you could grab a yoga block and put it underneath there. Cross the midline with this leg. Flat footprint on the ceiling. Pull that pinky toe down towards your left outer hip and you'll get into that IT band. And then you're going to open the leg to the side. Now you could keep your right foot on the floor, or you could do what I'm doing and put your foot up on the side of the machine. And get your inner thigh to stretch. Now I just now noticed I was flaring my ribs a little, arching my back. So if you're doing that, pull down. And then lift this leg up. Cross your right ankle in front of your left thigh. Bend that left knee and go into a piriformis stretch. So the knees draw in, but the tailbone pushes down. Excellent. We're going to detach that. Hang up this strap. Grab the other one, put it on your right foot, and we'll do all of that on the other side. Lower and lift. Now I'm getting work everywhere in my core, but through that left oblique especially, since I'm doing single leg. Sometimes I put my hand here just to remind me to keep this pressed down. And then we're going to go just circles, press down, open around, lift up. Make sure that your left leg is staying still and that your left oblique or side of your waist is pressing down into the mat. I don't even remember how many I did on the other side. I might have done 6. Now we're reversing. That was 8. I just mostly do what feels good to me. So if you're working out with me and it feels good to pause and do more repetitions of something, then by all means do. Or if you want to do fewer, that's your choice. It's your workout. I definitely have a harder time controlling the side of my waist while this right leg is moving. This is your last one. When your leg comes up, you're going to bend your knee into a chair position, extend it out as you draw the left knee in, and then switch. And really get a good reach of each leg in both directions. Inhale, exhale. So I'm not just pushing one leg out, I'm really drawing the other knee in to get that good bow and arrow stretch. Which, yes, classically the bow and arrow is open into a straddle, but I'm talking like almost like imagine drawing back a bow and arrow. One more. And when that right leg is straight, you're going to lift it up, slip your left foot underneath and up across that right ankle. Make sure your legs feel feet in line with pubic bone, and lower and lift. This one is just more of a challenge for me to keep particularly my left bottom rib down. So I really have to work it. One more. And then we're going to lift up and uncross the legs and go into frog, heels glued together. Press out, pull in. Keep those feet in line with the pubic bone. As far as being centralized, right? You are kicking them up on a diagonal, but you don't want them to veer off to the right or left. One more. And bend in, put your left foot on the floor and pull on the rope to get your right hamstring to stretch while you get a left quadricep hip flexor stretch. And breathe. And then we're going to cross the midline. You still keep the back of your right hip down on the mat. When you cross over, make sure you're not twisting in your waist. And then keep your footprint flat on the ceiling. Draw your pinky toe down towards this right hip. And then we're going to open the leg to the side, bring the left leg up on top if you want to, on top of the rail on the side of the machine, and get an inner thigh stretch. we're going to lift this leg up. Put your left foot on the foot bar. Make sure it's not on the floor anymore. Take your right foot out of the strap and hang it up. And then we'll come up to a seated position. So we're going to sit facing the long edge of the carriage or of the machine. And I think I'll keep myself on this blue spring. I'm going to back my bottom up to the back edge of this carriage based on the way I'm facing. My feet are going to spread fairly wide, and my right hand is going to hold the strap that's closest to my feet. And I'm going to pull and bring those arms together, or hands together, interlacing my fingers. Now my legs are strong and extended. They're not dragging. I will feel them on the back of the, like on the frame of the machine, but it shouldn't be uncomfortable. And back, twist, and back. So I'm trying to get into this left side of my waist, left oblique. Notice my hands are staying in line with my breastbone. I'm not just moving my arms, right, away from my chest. I'm rotating my chest. One more. And I'm stopping in the center. Now I'm going to bend this arm by my side, maybe go a little wider in my feet. Left hand is down on the mat next to the springs. I'm going to twist and reach towards my right foot and bring it back up. Twist and reach towards my pinky toe. Think circular saw in the mat work or on the tower or trapeze table. And again, my focus isn't my arm. That's why I have the lighter spring tension. My focus is this left side of my waist. So I'm really cinching there to get that bend and twist. Couple more. This actually feels good. I'm going to do one more since I like it so much. And release. I'm going to hang up the strap, go into a fourth position with my legs. So right shin is against the shoulder pads and left foot is up on the mat. If you are uncomfortable sitting this way, just let your feet hang over the edge, or you could sit cross-legged. Left hand on the bar. We'll see how the shoulder does. On this one, your hand should be in line with or in front of your shoulder. Push away and side stretch. I might, to get a better side stretch, I might have to bring my hand down to the wooden platform on this side. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's better. So I'm stretching the side of my waist. Now, if my hip lifts off, then I'm not stretching the side of my waist. So I have to aim my right sit bone for the mat and then lift up. And again. You could be on one red or like me, one blue spring for this. And up. And then you're going to twist and put your hands on the foot bar and give yourself this push-pull action with the hands. So I'm pushing with the heel of my left hand. I'm pulling with my right to get me into a good twist. Yes, my right hip is lifting off the mat at this point, and that's okay. Good, and then we're just going to pull that carriage in, unwind, and twist to the other side. So grab whatever you can hold on to, the shoulder pads or your leg, and twist. Excellent. I'm going to turn my legs around, my body around to face the other way. And then I'm going to scoot back so that my bottom is close to the back of this carriage. My feet are spread wide, feet are flexed and strong so that my legs aren't just hanging. And then I'm going to interlace my fingers. You could stack them around this long strap. I'm going to pull the strap in front of my chest, and then I'm going to twist to the right and back to center. I exhale when I twist. Some people prefer to inhale. As long as you're breathing, I'm okay with either. My bottom's sliding around a little bit, and if yours is doing the same, put a sticky pad under your butt. and release. And now we're going to do our little saw twist. So basically legs are in the same position, maybe a little wider. Arms are going to reach out, or right hand I think I left on the mat on the other side. Twist and reach. Now this is harder for this arm. And I could go lighter, but I think I'm just going to try to stick with this. So you're bending down and twisting toward your right pinky toe. I'm trying to also keep weight through my left sitting bone when I'm doing this. This is definitely harder just because of the lack of strength in this right arm. I'm sorry, left arm. One more. And release. And then we're going to hang that up, go into fourth position with the legs if you can, and we'll finish with a mermaid side stretch. So right hand on the bar or on the wooden platform. I think on this side I should be fine to have it on the foot bar. Other arm out, push away and side bend, and lift up. Notice I can't get this left arm up overhead like I can on the other side, but I'm still working through the bend in my waist. One more. And up. And then we're going to twist. So I just rotate my spine, reach for the bar, push with my right hand, pull with my left, and twist as far away as I can to the right. Whittling out my waist, stretching those oblique muscles, dropping my shoulders down. Spine grows long and tall, and I breathe. And then you're going to unwind, and we'll finish with a stretch to the left. Pulling on your leg or the shoulder pads, grow tall. You never want to shrink down when you're twisting. Look back as far as you can. And release. Go ahead and sit to face the shoulder pads if you are able to make this big straddle where your bottom is towards the back, towards the spring side of the carriage, and then you're just going to lay forward over your legs. So I can't easily stretch my arms out in front of me and come down, so I'm going to let this left arm hang, and I'm going to bring my forehead to the headrest. And then curl up the spine, clasp your hands behind you, open up your chest. And we did it. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next week in another video. Bye.